Got to get you into my life. What we had to get into our lives, it seems, was marijuana. Until we happened upon marijuana, we'd been drinking men. We were introduced to grass when we were in the US, and it blew our tiny little minds. I've touched on this before, but exactly what happened is that we were in a hotel suite, maybe in New York around the summer of '64, and Bob Dylan turned up with his roadie, the kind of guy who was more than a roadie, an assistant, friend, sidekick. He'd just released another side of Bob Dylan, and we were just drinking, as usual, having a little party. We'd ordered drinks from room service. Scotch and Coke and French wine were our things back then. And Bob had disappeared into a back room. We thought maybe he'd gone to the toilet, but then Ringo came out of that back room looking a bit strange. He said, "I've just been with Bob, and he's got some pot," or whatever you called it then. And we said, "Oh, what's it like?" And he said, "Well, the ceiling is sort of moving. It's sort of coming down." And that was enough. After Ringo said that, the other three of us leapt into the back room where Dylan was, and he gave us a puff on a joint. And you know how a lot of people take a puff and think it's not working? We'd expected something instantaneous, so we kept puffing away and saying, "It's not working, is it?" And suddenly it was working, and we were giggling, laughing at each other. I remember George trying to get away, and I was sort of running after him. It was hilarious, like a cartoon chase. We thought, wow, this is pretty amazing, this stuff. And so it became part of our repertoire from then on. How did we get our pot? To tell you the truth, it just showed up. There were certain people you could get it from. You just had to know who had some. So this song is my ode to pot. It was something that entered our lives, and I thought it would be a good idea to write a song. Only I would know that I was talking about pot. Many years later, I told people what it was about, but when we made the record, it was just, I was alone, I took a ride, I didn't know what I would find there. It was very joyous at that time. The scene turned darker a few years later, as the whole drug thing did, but it started off as a rather sunny day in the garden type of experience.